Well, it's an honor to be here today as part of the Pinstripe Brigade. You notice put the lawyers up last, just in case. And John, I want to join you in thanking our respective clients. We are blessed with wonderful clients, the Departments of Energy and of course, Department of Justice and all the work you did. And then on our, on the state side, our wonderful governors, our outstanding congressional delegation, and of course our client, the Department of Ecology, led by Jay Manning. We on the legal team have been very, very blessed with wonderful people to work with throughout this process, and we want to take this opportunity as the lawyers to say thank you very, very much to all of you who work so hard in Congress, in the Department of Justice, in the Department of Ecology, in the governor's offices to make this possible here today. It is such an honor to be able to be here to announce this new agreement, which provides for firm timelines for a Hanford cleanup that are directly enforceable in the court. And it's a fitting occasion to mark the 20th anniversary of the Tri-Party Agreement. It's hard to believe that nearly 4 years ago, I joined Governor Gregoire in urging the federal government to honor its commitment to the people of Washington and the people of the Tri-Cities in particular for their dedication and sacrifice in helping America win the Second World War and the Cold War. Our state did its part, but year after year, critical deadlines were missed. Deadlines to clean up roughly 53 million gallons of mixed, highly radioactive and hazardous waste here at Hanford. And after months and years of negotiations, having come nearly to agreement, then reached an impasse, it is such a gratifying experience to be here today to mark the adoption of this new settlement and the proposed consent decree. I'd like to thank our state legal team, today represented by our lead negotiators, Hanford expert, my notes say guru, that seemed a little extravagant, our Hanford expert and Assistant Attorney General Andy Fitz, who's lived and breathed this case for years, and his leader, Ecology Division Chief Mary Sue Wilson. They have put in countless hours negotiating with their counterparts. We want to thank you guys very, very much. And I want to commend the United States government for agreeing to a court-enforceable settlement which honors the state's contribution to defending our country by completing the job of disposing of and safely treating this deadly waste. The people of the Tri-Cities are justly proud of their heritage, of serving their country during difficult times. They deserve to know that the federal government is committed to specific timelines for addressing one of our nation's most serious environmental challenges. So this agreement, as much as it is for anyone in this country, is for the people of the Tri-Cities. Thank you all very much for being here, and now please join me in welcoming Shirley back to the microphone. Shirley?
Thank you, Attorney General McKenna. We're now going to take questions from the media. Annette?
How confident are you that the VIT plant will be operating in 2019 and on the $12.2 billion budget? Could you maybe give us a percentage of confidence?
No, I can't. But let me just say that shortly after I became Secretary of Energy, I heard about the false starts, the improper starts, a lot of the project management ills, and environmental management did not have a good track record, especially in dealing with high-level rates. And so what I did is that the Department of Energy has in its midst, in the Office of Science, the ability to manage projects, multi-billion-dollar projects, where virtually all of them, save one that I know of, was on budget on time. And that's not an accident. There was incredibly good oversight, really value-added oversight, that could catch things as they derailed very early before it became a major problem, as some of the things that happened here. And so what I said is, the person who's in charge of this group, named Danny Lamy, said, I need you to help. I need you to help environmental management. As I was picking Inez Trey, I said, will you be open to this help? And she was absolutely open to it. And so what we did is that it's not enough. And so the first pass of help is, he goes and talks to them. And I said, that's not good enough. You got to actually go on the site. You can't, because questions will come up you can't anticipate. And by watching you ask questions and your team asking questions, the environmental management team can understand what it takes to give proper oversight and really value-added oversight. And that's what they're doing this week. And that's what they will continue to do. So the only thing I'm saying is that We do have a track record in the Department of Energy in some parts that bring on very complex projects on time, on budget. And because of that, and environmental management and Inez has been very open, welcoming, that I think hopefully it's on a better path. But that's all I can say. It's very early on, in probably my first week on the job, it became, in fact, the 0th minus 1 week, it became an issue to me. So those phone calls between Danny Lehman and I were going on improperly before inauguration. It's only slightly improperly.
Any other questions from the media?
Yeah, right back here.
Shannon?
Under this consent decree, what outside waste will still be allowed to come to Hanford, and does that include mercury?
What outside waste?
Yeah. I thought you said yes.
Essentially, what the preferred alternative in the draft environmental impact statement is going to do is extend the current moratorium for waste importation until at least the waste treatment plant is operational. So, as you know, the current moratorium has exceptions for some of the military waste, and those will extend because, as I was explaining, it's simply an extension of the current moratorium.
Secretary Chu back here, in the back here. Hi there. In talking about your tour and your looking at the facility today, what have you been able to learn today that maybe you have not had a better grasp of back in D.C.?
Oh, that's really easy. In order to appreciate the size and the scale of what was going on, the complexity of the problems, the fact that this has to operate without human access for 40 years, dealing with very caustic stuff, is a very high technology issue. And so there are a lot of reviews going on to make sure that we have some confidence, very good confidence, that this can occur. But it's something we have in the Department of Energy a track record of doing, but the size and the scale of this particular project is like no other. It is, to the best of my knowledge, the biggest nuclear project in the world.
Terry Chu, this is Anna King. When Obama was on the campaign trail, he came famously to this area and said he didn't know where Hanford was. I was wondering if your boss knows where Hanford is now and how you can be secure of that fact.
The only way I can be secure is if I ask him. So I'll ask him. How's that? But I'm pretty sure he knows, but I could even ask his staffers. But I think he knows.
Any other questions, Annette?
I wanted to ask Secretary Chu how you think the Recovery Act spending is going at Hanford. Is it being spent fast enough? Is there enough oversight?
I believe so. I think, as I said in my remarks, that already we're looking at 1,700 jobs. And the fact that this is now going forward at an accelerated pace, thanks to the good work of the two senators, which is fabulous because it means we can fulfill our obligation, get back on schedule, and clean this up in a timely manner. I think, and this was one of the things in the budget deliberations at the very beginning of the Obama administration, I said, talk about shovel ready. Talk about something that's good to go that needs to be done. This is it. Okay, and so I'm pretty happy with it.
Okay, we'll take two more questions from the media.
Kevin Randall from KNDU. Question about the public hearings, the meetings for public comment. When are those going to start?
It's a 45-day comment period, begins in September and ends on November 9th. And so what we wanted to do is build in some time for people to get to know it, get to understand it from today until we begin the public hearings, and then allow people to really participate. It will not be the first time they've been allowed to participate. We did talk about the hopefulness of having an agreement a year ago. So people already have given us some input and have already changed the consent decree. There are some issues in there that reflect public comment, not the least of which is, why can't we every 6 years ask ourselves, with the research and development commitment by Secretary Chu and his department, that we can accelerate cleanup because we have new technology that we've discovered, and rather than maintain the same deadline, maybe there is a new technology that will allow us to accelerate it. That, in part, came from the public comment that we've already received. The other public comment we received is a request that we continue the moratorium from outside waste coming into the state until we commenced cleanup here and got the VIT plant fully operational. And that's what led to this commitment by Secretary Chu and the department to continue the moratorium. So this is really more like a round 2, if you will, in public comment, but a very important part of the process, and we want the public to be able to participate and make sure that their comments are heard.
The consent decree will be available almost immediately because we've lodged it with the court. And those who wish to start looking at it right away can do so because everything's online now and available electronically with the federal courts, which is just terrific. And regarding the public hearing schedule, I'm sure that Congressman Doc Hastings and his office, represented today by Jessica Gleason as Chief of Staff, our U.S. Senators, other elected officials in the area like Representative Larry Haler of the 8th District, I'm sure they'll all be very, very quick to let their constituents know what the public comment process will be and what hearings will be held and when they'll be held. So there will be plenty of opportunity with this initial 30-day review period, even before the 45-day public comment period is launched. And not until after the public comments are collected will we go to finalize the consent decree with the court in December.
In addition, as our federal government responsibility with the tribes, we will be starting our consultation process with them. One last question.
Maybe how long it took for all parties to get to the table and get to this point, and are we really talking about a change of administration that made this happen?
Yes, okay.
The tipping point was a new Attorney General and a new Secretary of Energy. That was the tipping point. When I went back to see them shortly after they came into office, literally less than 6 months ago, I asked if they'd come to the table, but come to the table with fresh new eyes on it, a willingness to listen, and a willingness to negotiate. Secretary Chu made the commitment right away. The Attorney General Holder made that commitment that day and directed his staff. The results of that commitment and that new leadership and direction by the President was the tipping point that allowed us to move forward.
I just want to make a comment. You notice, as a scientist, I didn't consult my lawyers first. But shame on me. But and the Attorney General is much more experienced.
Thank you very much. This concludes our briefing, and again, thank you very much for joining us here today in this exciting news.